Glad to have you with us here on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader here with you. Thanks for joining us. Coming up on today's show, we have a list of updated free agent targets for Seattle after the 2025 NFL Draft. I got 5 players at 5 different positions. We will discuss who could end up in Seattle coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we get to that, folks, we are closing in on 67,000 subscribers here on the channel. We are growing at a rapid pace, my friends, and we are just over 100 away from reaching that next milestone. The draft may be over, but there is plenty of content coming throughout this offseason here on the channel as we'll continue to talk free agency, trades. We'll also bring you breaking news, Q&A mailbags, multiple videos a day, live shows each and every Monday and Wednesday. You do not want to miss a single moment of all the action as we count you down to training camp right here on the channel. It'll be here before we know it. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/SeahawksTV, and we'll get started with today's show. Big move coming. Could Seattle be looking to sign another couple of free agents here in the offseason after the NFL draft? And to kind of give you an idea, if you recall, prior to the draft, John Schneider was asked, all right, where are you guys standing when it comes to adding players outside of the draft, when it comes to free agency and trades? And what he said was that they were kind of taking a pause for a minute as they were going to wait till after the draft and then reevaluate things to see who was still out there and also look at players that had been cut from other teams as well, and then go forward to kind of fill the gaps to close their positions of need. Now, here's the good thing. When it comes to the salary cap situation, Seattle is in a really good spot as they have some financial flexibility here. According to Spotrac, they have about $37.71 million in cap space. That's the 7th most of any team in the National Football League at this point in time. So that's a good amount of cash. On average, you spend about $10 million for your draft picks. It'll probably cost Seattle more because they drafted 11 players, but even then, you still have money at your disposal. And John Schneider had mentioned a while back as well that he would like to save a little bit of cash just in case they want to make a move during the season, whether it's to sign a player or a trade deadline move of sorts. But even with that said, there is still money. Money is not a problem here. So let's go ahead and get started with 5 different players at 5 different positions. Let's talk about Amari Cooper, the former Buffalo Bills receiver. And when this was first brought up about a month or two ago on the idea of signing Amari Cooper, it seemed like a reach for Seattle as their attention was focused on Cooper Kupp, who they did end up signing. And Cooper had a lot of interest from other teams, but ultimately he has not signed anywhere at this point and remains available. And you would have to think that the longer this has dragged out with Amari Cooper, that his price tag has probably gone down significantly. And now, for me, this is intriguing of the possibility of signing Amari Cooper here, as you don't really have a wide receiver in this offense to play a role that Amari Cooper would bring to the table. He would offer something different compared to the other guys that are there. And I think he still has plenty that he can bring to the table. I know that he had a bit of a disappointing season when he joined the Buffalo Bills at the trade deadline after being traded from the Cleveland Browns. But prior to that, I mean, he was doing really good, right? 5-time Pro Bowler, 2015, 2016, 2018, 2019, and as recently as 2023. And the numbers, here's what we're talking about. I know that things dropped off last year, but just prior to that, over 1,200 yards in 2023, over 1,100 yards in 2022, 9 touchdowns in 2022, 5 in 2023, 4 in 2024. I mean, if you're looking for somebody to be your realistically number 3 receiver, I don't think you're going to find much better options than Amari Cooper. I think you'd be thrilled if he was on your team, especially if his price tag has gone down with him still being out there at this point. So here's your chance to be the GM here on Seattle Seahawks Today. Should Seattle sign Amari Cooper? You got 2 options here. Type S for sign, P for pass. Weigh in on our pinned comment today. You might get an ad break while the ad's playing. Get your votes in. Let us know what you think. Up next, we find Asante Samuel Jr., the former Chargers corner, who is still available for any team to sign. And it's a real head-scratcher of why he is still out there, because he is certainly a starting caliber corner in this league. And I thought that he would have been signed sooner than this point, that we wouldn't be having this discussion, but here we are. And if you recall, several weeks ago, Mike Macdonald, the Seattle Seahawks head coach, when they brought back Josh Jobe, he said that, hey, we like Josh Jobe, but we would like to have some competition for Josh Jobe at the outside corner position, that we would like to see somebody compete for that starting outside corner spot with him. And you look at Josh Jobe. Josh Jobe did all right, all things considered, going from the practice squad to playing 10 games. But I think all of us, if we're being honest with ourselves, would not feel very confident about him being the full-time starter all season long. And Asante Samuel Jr., still a very young player, the son of former NFL corner Asante Samuel Sr., has had a very good career. 50 career games played with 47 starts, all with the Los Angeles Chargers. And if you bring in Asante Samuel Jr. into the fold, then let's say that he beats out Josh Jobe, then Josh Jobe could still be a very good backup to fill in your roles if something were to happen to Samuel or to Devin Witherspoon or to Rick Woolen. I think you would feel much better and you'd have some serious depth in at the corner position at that point. You look at the production, it's there for Asante Samuel Jr. as well. He had 3 straight seasons with 2 interceptions from 2021 to 2023. Last year was a bit banked up, only played in 4 games. I think that's probably a reason why you could get him cheaper. But in those 4 games, still accounted for 2 pass breakups and 13 tackles. Let's go to the edge rusher position. And Seattle, they got some dogs at the edge rusher spot when you talk Uchenna Nwosu and Derek Hall and Boye Mafe and DeMarcus Lawrence. But what about Za'Darius Smith, the former Detroit Lion? I think he is still very productive even at this stage in his career, and still has plenty left to offer his next team based on what we saw in 2024. He's been around the block, kind of like Jenny, as he previously played for the Lions, the Browns, Vikings, Packers, and Ravens. Had a Pro Bowl appearance as recently as 2022, and his best season was probably that 2020 campaign when he was not only a Pro Bowler but also a second-team All-Pro. And here's what we mean about the production still being there. We know Mike Macdonald has been very successful in years past with some of these older pass rushers. Well, Za'Darius Smith last year still had 9 sacks as he went from the Cleveland Browns to the Detroit Lions, along with 17 QB hits, 35 tackles, and 9 TFLs. I think that he could be a good fit for Seattle and add some depth. You can never have too many pass rushers. I think it'd be a good fit. If you had to choose between one of these 2 defensive players, which one would you rather have, Asante Samuel Jr. or Za'Darius Smith? If it's Asante Samuel Jr., type AS for Asante Samuel Jr. If it's Za'Darius Smith, type ZS for Za'Darius Smith. Weigh in the comments section. Pick one that you would like to sign. Got a great deal that we're offering Seahawks fans right now. Rookie jerseys are available at chatsports.com/Seahawks rookies. And whether it's Gray Zabel or Jalen Milroe, we got it all for you. And here is a little word to the wise, all right? We do not know what the jersey numbers of Gray Zabel and Jalen Milroe will be. In fact, rumors going around that Milroe is actually going to wear the number 1 that you see on Zabel's jersey here. But nonetheless, whenever we have that figured out, if you order a jersey, you will get the jersey with said player's number on it that they will be wearing, okay? And you can get those jerseys at chatsports.com/Seahawks rookies. These are going to be going fast. You are going to be the cool kid on the block when you're wearing a rookie jersey that you're going to get the most out of because you get it at the very start of their careers. Now, maybe you prefer a veteran. Maybe you want to go with one of the other new guys like Cooper Kupp or Sam Darnold. Don't worry, folks. We also have their jerseys available at that same link, chatsports.com/Seahawks rookies. Get yours today. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. You knew we were going to talk about an offensive lineman. We have to when we mention Seattle here. The O-line isn't improved, but far from a finished product at this point in time. And this is where we find former Jags offensive guard Brandon Shrief. And he's got a great resume of work that he brings to the table. If this was a job interview and I asked for work experience, solely that alone, if that was my hiring process, Shrief would easily get picked up as far as that goes. 5-time Pro Bowler as recently as 2021, a first-team All-Pro in 2020, most recently with the Jags, and played with the Commanders as well in his career there. And you could slide him right away into the right guard spot with Gray Zabel at the left guard position, and Olu's your starting center, and all of a sudden the offensive line wouldn't be too shabby, right? Even last year, his numbers, not terrible. Overall grade of 64.7, pass block grade of 74.5, run block grade of 57.3, did not allow a single sack in over 1,000 snaps played, did get called for 2 penalties. Who is a player the Seahawks should sign? We've gone over a few names. We still have one more to get to before we wrap up today's show. Give me one more name in the comments section that you would like to see. All right, let's wrap up with Eric Kendricks, the former Dallas Cowboys linebacker, wraps up our list today. And although he's an older cat, he also is another one that has not showed age, has not slowed down at this point in his career. He's played for the Cowboys, the Chargers, the Vikings. His best season, you go back to 2019 when he was a Pro Bowler and a first-team All-Pro in that season. And here's what we mean by the production of not slowing down. Look what he did in Dallas last year. Now, there wasn't a whole lot to like about the Dallas Cowboys in 2024, but Eric Kendricks was one of the things that you probably did like. As look what he did in 15 games, 138 tackles, 4 TFLs, 3 sacks, and was a part of not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5 turnovers, 2 interceptions and 3 forced fumbles last year. Father Time may be undefeated, but it took an L so far against Eric Kendricks at this point. I think he'd be a good fit for Seattle, potentially. Pair him up with Tyree Snight and Ernest Jones, and you'd have a pretty good group as far as I'm concerned. Appreciate you joining us here on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. For continuing Seahawks coverage, you already know what to do. Subscribe! YouTube.com/SeahawksTV. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.